last horizon of astrology in the Yogsutra series. We are with Astromaster U K Jha. Astromaster, you have said in reference to Shakat Yoga that the yoga dealt in Yoga Jha chapters of standard astrology textbooks have two facets. Firstly, they are formulated on certain fundamental principles of astrology, and you have discussed them in your world famous book Yoga Pushpanjali. Secondly, you have said that these yogas themselves depicts grand principle, but the extension of which dealt here is unseen. For the first time in the written history of astrology, you have thrown a light on the expanded application of these rules in another parlance. Because of this is not only unique but is also exceptionally great. It is really thrilling for the lovers of astrology. Now, Astromaster, if you throw light on another dreadful yoga called kemdrum yoga, what is the great rule hidden behind this yoga, and what would be expanded version of this yoga? Your valuable views on this, with due respect, Astromaster.
Let me tell you that there is nothing new in whatever I have said about the expanded application of the rule underlying the Sakat Yoga. However, it is really an irony that the authors of the texts, the commentators, or the scholars of astrology have in fact failed to open their heart on the same. Actually, astrology is the science of trenchant reasoning, and as such, we must keep our mind always open for the corybantic currents of reasons and logic. In the words of Galileo, I would like to say that in the question of science, the authority of 1,000 is not worth the humble reasoning of a single individual. I would also like to add here that there are only two possible outcomes of any theory. If the result confirms the hypothesis, then you have made a measurement. If the result is contrary to the hypothesis, then you have made a discovery. So, we must keep on thinking with an open mind. Let us come to kemdrum yoga. This is also basically a yoga of poverty. It is formed when the previous and the next house from the moon is vacant in the birth chart. Why the poverty? This is because moon is deemed weak here in this condition. And what could be the reason for weakness or infirmity of moon in the said condition? To understand this, we will have to revert back to few other yogas. See, there are other famous yogas with respect to placement of other planets in the previous house or the next house or both of these houses from the position of the moon. They are termed Anfa Yoga, Sunfa Yoga and Durdhara Yoga. They may be favorable or unfavorable depending upon the nature of the planets placed in the previous or next or both house from the location of the moon. What does it mean? It implies that when some planet get deposited in the previous or in the next house or in the both side of the moon, they work to impart some strength to moon. That means these planets give some cover to preserve the strength of the moon. In Gemini astrology also, we find that a house occupied by some planet is deemed stronger than the house which is completely vacant. It therefore indicates when the houses in both sides from moon are vacant, they become weak. It means the strength or potential of the house occupied by moon starts leaking from both sides. This leakage of energy or seepage of the energy from the house occupied by moon renders that house weak. Eventually, the moon becomes weak due to that seepage or leakage of energy from both the sides. Now, strength of moon in horoscope is of paramount importance. This is because it is said in astrology that Chandram balam tu nikhil grahabirya bijam. It means that the strength of the moon contains the seeds of strength of all other planets in the nativity. So if moon becomes weak in the horoscope, all other planets automatically become weak. That means the entire birth chart becomes strengthless. That is why the bad result of this yoga, kemdrum yoga, has been told in the books. Look, if we look into the Vedic mantra of moon, it has been praised with all the chosen words of encomium. Say, Mahate Rajyai, Mahate Jeshtai, Mahate Kshetrai, etc., etc. It implies that all the attributes of greatness in life is brought by the planet moon from the cosmos. So if moon is weak in the horoscope, nothing great or supernal in life can be expected. In my book, Yog Puspanjali, these and other facets have been discussed in detail while dealing with kemdrum yoga. Interested people may refer to that book for other details. Now, what is inferred from these discussions is that any planet becomes weak if the previous and the next house from that planet is vacant at the time of birth. This is because the energy of the house occupied by a planet keeps on leaking in this condition and renders the planet also weak. So, on the basis of weakness of any planet in the said condition, its bad effects can be envisaged with wisdom and wit. Suppose Jupiter is placed in that condition in the horoscope. Means, when the houses in both sides of Jupiter is vacant at the time of birth. As a result of this, the Jupiter will become weak and the learning, the wealth, the knowledge, the morality, the religiosity, etc. of the native would suffer adversely. His sagacity and dexterity in different fields of life or profession would be poor. He would fail to make accurate judgment of the situation, because Jupiter has become weak and it is the planet of judgment also. Hence, decision-making capacity of the native would be poor. He would not be able to argue in proper line with adequate length, data and facts and other dimensions of the points he is trying to push through. What I mean to say is that the native would not be able to place his points properly in the discussions despite all the skill, abilities, data and facts available to him. In case the house in both sides of Venus is vacant, the sense of love, learning, wealth and enjoyment of the native would be weak. He may remain filled with utopian ideas about everything. His sense of enjoyment would be peculiar. His expectations would simply soar into a sky, and he would fail to have real joy from anything. His virility may also be poor, and his attractions towards opposite sex would keep on, dwindling. The soft element of touch and feeling would be absent in his deliberations. At conjugal front, he may be a passive type of partner. His choice and behavior may lack the silver lining of sophistication. He would be deficient in appreciation of art, music, poetry, etc. Maybe that he is found wanting in display of strong sensual sensations. Likewise, the effects of such a Venus can be drawn with intelligence and wisdom. If Saturn is placed in that condition at the time of birth, all the negative attributes of this planet may manifest in full. See, Saturn will become weak in this condition, and a weaker Saturn is often found to be more troublesome in life. The native would be very selfish and concentric. He would be wicked, indisposed, indolent, and even insalubrious in disposition and deliberation. Jealousy and backbiting would become his habit. He would like to enjoy the means, he would like to enjoy the company of mean and debased persons. Sense of sacrifice would be found totally lacking in his nature. Now suppose Mars has this yoga, that is, the both side house from location of Mars. It is both side house from the location of Mars is vacant. Then what would be the result? It is clear that Mars will become weak, and because of this inherent weakness of Mars, the native may be timid and diffident. True passion for anything positive would be lacking in his personality. He may not be able to properly assert his rights. Would also fail to take initiatives of his own. He may become quarrelsome and rancorous. His terms and relations with the co-borns may not be good. His logical faculty would be poor and may not be able to emphatically press his points in public. For female natives, it may take away the interest in coercion and attraction from opposite sex. A strange sense of animalism would creep into the nature and behavior of the native. He would love to create trouble for others unnecessarily. These are the few things that may become noticeable in the behavioral pattern of such natives. Now come to Mercury. Fortunately, it does not happen quite often in case of Mercury in the birth maps. But in case this does happen for the planet Mercury in birth chart, that is when both the houses from the position of Mercury lie vacant, the native would be unintelligent, dull and dim-witted. He would be devoid of writing powers, and his communication skill would also be very poor. He may readily indulge in acts of forgery and treachery because his bend of mind will be towards negative side most of the time. He may be a liar and swindler. His sense of humor would be very poor. the native may enjoy stoking fire to unwanted and undesired situations that may cause jeopardy for others. He may become expert in spreading rumors that can cause havoc in the society. He would talk too much and would do little in any circle of affairs. That means he will be greatly talkative, but will not be really active on the front of executing any job. See, if sun is placed in such a situation in the birth map, it may make the native insensible and cruel. He would have little regard or concern for the trouble of other persons. His focus is mainly shifted towards getting name and fame by hook or by crook. He may not be having good administrative skill, but he would like to get the position of power and administration by all means. He would pretend to be self-respecting and prestigious, but would not mind indulging in ignoble activities. See, as sun represents soul also, so the weakness of sun means the loss of conscience for such natives. As such, the native may become a person of conspiratorial motives. He may enjoy hatching conspiracies against others. He would be very susceptible to corruption and corruptibility, and all types of corruption would become acceptable to these persons. By nature, these people may become something that is not expected of an ordinary human being. He would have no regard for old systems, scriptures and elders, and he will be focused only towards achieving his own goals and objectives in life. Actually, it will make the man totally conscienceless. In this way, we may try to find out the possible results of different planets placed in such a situation, leading to the formation of kemdrum yoga. Whenever any planet is placed in that condition, the native would be bereft of the positive traits of that planet, and only negative things appertain to that planet would try to manifest in his personality. So I would like to say that the underlying rules of kemdrum yoga can be extended to other planets also, and the suitable results owing to that acquired weakness in relation to that planet can be guessed, and that is how we can arrive at certain conclusion with regard to the effects expected from those planets. So in this way, the paramount rule that comes out from the kemdrum yoga is applicable to other planets also, and we may go for its extended application in the birth chart. That's all.